Hey, what's up? I'm Ofosu Jones-Corte,
And I'm Leah Santa Cruz.
and we are the meditation coaches on the Balance app.
And this is our weekly show, Well Balanced, where we explore ways to live a healthier and happier life.
And I guess, surprise, we are in the same
I know.
room together.
Finally.
Usually you are 11 hours.
No. Well, more than that.
You're usually a day. You're in the future usually.
You're talking about like time zones, yes.
Yeah.
But a 30-hour flight later, and voila, I am here in the flesh with you.
We are in Los Cabos, aka Cabo, for in Mexico.
Yeah, San Jose del Cabo.
Yeah.
We're at our annual meetup with the Balance team, the entire Balance
The whole
team.
team is down here.
Everybody behind the scenes. There's so many amazing people on this team that work to make everything we do possible.
And it's really special.
Yeah, and it's also really special to be here filming our podcast in person for the first time.
I mean, how many times have you and I actually been in the same space? Not that many. And definitely not this long.
Not that many. And luckily, the Hotel Gonzo we're staying at has this beautiful studio for us to do it in. So here we are.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, we're in person, and it's an opportunity for us to talk about, like, I don't know, just to get real, talk about like the juicy stuff. I was thinking about joy and sadness and what it means to be able to express exactly how we're feeling fully, and maybe look at reasons why we don't give ourselves permission to do that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's an important topic because I think it's so relevant. You actually posted recently, I saw you posted about crying.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really vulnerable post and not something that I see, especially a lot of men share.
Sure.
Maybe because it's like socially taboo for men to cry in public or to talk about crying.
Yeah.
But it seemed like you let yourself go to that place of being sad and then taking it a step further and sharing it with others to normalize it for other people, which I thought was really great. What do you think helped you get to that point of actually being able to let yourself feel sad?
You know, I think coming from, there's so many different layers of breakthrough personally for me to arrive at the place of just being able to cry when I feel like crying. Some of it definitely comes from just the cultural conditioning. You don't really see a lot of like African men crying. You don't see a lot of American men crying. You don't see a lot of Black American men crying. And you don't see a lot of people like associated with hip hop crying. You don't see a lot of meditation teachers, who are like stoic, you know what I mean? Like just unveiling their emotions. So the time where I can actually remember that I made the conscious decision to cry, it was easy to do it, but it was still a decision that I made in the moment. We had just come back from a family meditation retreat that I was teaching in at Spirit Rock in San Francisco, and my friend Tom, had a surgery. He didn't make it, and so my phone had been off for the last few days of the retreat and all the way down the mountain. So I'd been thinking about him this whole time. Anyway, I got to the airport, phone came on, his mom called and said, Tom is gone. My whole family was there and I'm in the airport, so it was lots of people, and then my kids and my wife are there. And I was like, I haven't, if I show exactly what my emotions are right now, everybody's going to see, and it's going to be a pivotal moment for everybody.
Yeah. But what's the fear there for anyone really, but like, what do you think is the fear there specifically for men and for yourself?
Yeah, I think the hesitation, the fear is, I don't know, it's abstract. It's you don't want to be, I guess it's not wanting to be perceived as weak. not wanting to be perceived as like not having it all together. You know, you can see somebody in public that is angry, and that's like, okay, that guy's pissed off. What's going on in my mind is like, I don't want to make a scene. I don't want to make people uncomfortable. I don't want to appear that I don't have my shit together. But in that moment, I was just like, this is a tragedy, and this is how you're supposed to respond to a tragedy. So I just let myself openly cry in the airport.
Wow.
And
good for you.
Yeah.
What was the response of people around you?
I think people in general just were minding their business, and they were okay. And my family was there too, so it wasn't like I was alone. I did walk off, but yeah,
But did you get that judgment that you were
No, exactly. All that stuff that was in my head was just in my head,
But it makes sense from, an evolutionary psychology perspective. You think that crying could be a sign of weakness or vulnerability, which could then be interpreted as an evolutionary risk, right?
Definitely.
Especially for men, because they're, the hunters and they're the protectors, historically speaking.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that like deep in our biology, there's a fear of being vulnerable in public or around others because of this perceived fear about being judged as weak or as not able to be relied on, or some sort of misconception there. And you're right. I do think that we typically, well, not all of us, is a generalization, but I know for myself, it's easier for me to jump into anger than it is to let myself feel the depths of sadness.
Yeah.
And I think for me, sometimes when I'm doing that, it's a subconscious bypass. It's not happening consciously. It's almost automatic. It's like those pathways in my brain got developed over time to just go, detour. We don't go that direction.
Take the exit
But
real
when
fast.
I do like stumble into those murky waters, there can be sadness there that's like old. That I haven't, it might not even be around the situation now. It might be like accumulated sadness about what's going on in the world, or things that happened in childhood, or past hurts that I hadn't really processed. And so I think it can be scary sometimes to go into the depths of ourselves and know and like look in those dark corners and go, what's in there?
People say this about meditation too, like they don't want to see what's there.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it's something that I've heard a few times, that like, oh gosh, I don't think I can sit quietly with myself because I don't know what's in my mind, and I think people feel the same way about their hearts too. And just like what you're saying, there could be so much there that, just to open that door a little bit could let the floodgates open.
But every time I've gone into the sadness and let myself express it or feel it or share it with another, I'm always met with so much compassion. And like if I come to my husband in an angry outburst, it is not going to go well.
Right.
I never get the result that I'm looking for, which is usually love and connection and understanding and cooperation. What I instead met with is like a power struggle. But if I approach him or someone else in really owning my sadness, I'm met with compassion and understanding and love and all those things that I wished for. So I think we also yearn to see each other's sadness because that's like real sometimes.
Absolutely.
Not meaning that you have to be sad and fake it. No, not at all.
Right.
But
yeah, we're not encouraging people to be unnecessarily emo.
But let's be honest, we all have some sadness within us about something.
Yeah.
If we really like peel back the layers, because anger is a secondary emotion that's just hiding, something that's been unmet and like a sadness about that.
When I started doing my work as a solo artist, I was still in that mode, just kind of waxing about whatever my ideas were. And I remember playing one of my songs to somebody at a party. And he was like, these songs are good, but I don't know what makes you sad. And he was like, so I can't really connect with any of your music.
Wow. What a great feedback.
Yo, I don't remember who this person was, but I never forgot. It was a pivotal moment for me as an artist he was just like, I don't know what makes you sad. I don't, and he was like, it's okay to show your darkness, and so like just
That's
to,
somebody in touch with themselves.
yeah,
And did it shift the way that you write music?
it took a while to develop that, but I never forgot that advice.
Kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of something Rumi would write. I want to know what makes you sad. I
Yeah.
want to know what makes you tick.
Yeah.
On the other end of that spectrum, I also think that we have a hard time, generally speaking, letting ourselves really feel joy, which is like the other end of the spectrum of sadness. It's like, I feel joy occasionally, but not nearly as often as I would like to feel joy.
Yeah.
I feel peace and contentment and gratitude often, but like real ecstatic joy
Yeah.
is a special occasion.
Yeah.
And I wonder why is that often? And I have my own thoughts about it. I don't know if you have thoughts about it, but
I do. I mean, it's almost sad to admit that like it's hard to let joy run rampant. I mean, just being alive is a miracle. We could literally just be jumping for joy at the fact that this collection of atoms and cells are all here to create this life that's experiencing things. I mean, you can go down the rabbit hole of existence and arrive at joy for sure if you let yourself.
Yeah.
Or just like any accomplishment, anything that we're right here. I could do some jumping jacks for being in this beautiful studio and hanging out with you in person, but I'm always like feeling like, okay, I need to keep myself in check a little bit.
There's a similar thing going on with feeling sadness as I think is feeling joy. I think there's a concern about how will I look to other people. If I am jumping around ecstatically with this childlike joy, am I going to be perceived as immature, as unreliable, as like a little weird? You ever met that person that was so happy that it was annoyingly? And you're like, no, I can't handle you right now.
Just please turn down the volume, dial it back.
You're the happiest person I've ever met.
I can't stand it. Go away.
Or been that person.
Yeah, definitely have been that person.
Just like walk into the room, all bright-eyed, in the wrong room.
Everyone just turns around slowly, like,
Yeah, but I think there is just on the other end of that I'm not enough, there's I'm too much. And I think it touches that inner fear that a lot of us have is like this core wound that I'm too much. Somewhere along the lines when we were a kid or maybe in high school, you know how kids are.
Yeah.
We were told, oh, you're just too much in some way. And we held on to that and we dimmed ourselves and we're like, oh, okay, I'm going to keep it cool.
Yeah.
I'm not going to like show how excited I am.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to get my hopes up about something because the other shoe's going to drop or things never work out.
Yeah.
And we set ourselves up for that. Yeah. And probably like in a, what do you call that? When you believe something so much, self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's this interesting concept that I heard from, a psychologist, Gay Hendricks. I don't know if you've heard of him and his wife have some really incredible work, especially in relationships. So he wrote a book called The Big Leap. And in it, he talked about what's called the upper limits problem. And he coined this term, and it's so beautiful. I love the way it describes that we subconsciously create this cap for how much success we can have in our lives, how much love we can experience in a relationship, how much joy and happiness we can have. And pretty much everything good in our lives, we create this sort of subconscious limit of how much we can experience.
Yeah.
And then when we go past that limit, we start to subconsciously sabotage ourselves.
Yeah.
And that could look very much like, things are going super well in your relationship and you're like high on how wonderful this is going, and then suddenly this fear sinks in like, I'm investing too much. What if I get hurt? And then you subconsciously, the mind goes and it looks for a problem and it picks a fight.
Yeah.
Or, things are going really well in your athletic career and you've reached your upper limit, and then suddenly you subconsciously like slip and fall in the locker room and break your ankle.
Yeah.
But this is the kind of thing that I think we tend to do in our lives that prevents us from really reaching those levels of joy that we could, because it's like better to stay in the familiar place.
The new places are scary. Every time I put something new out, just being able to like fully celebrate it, to fully like stand on the rooftops and be like, I did a thing, and I'm super proud of myself. I love it, and
Like the book that you just put out.
yeah, for sure. I still haven't like thrown a party for myself yet about it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some fear, like if I own this fully, or if I step into the trajectory of a higher concept of success, what if I fail?
Yes.
What if it doesn't, what if this is the best that it could be? So like, why should I like wish for more?
It's kind of like the same thing as someone who's like, well, I don't want to fall in love because what if I fall in love and then things don't work out and then I'll feel sad. It's like, well, then you never let yourself fully experience the benefits of life, like the beauty of life. So I think it's another evolutionary psychology thing because, as hunter-gatherers, anything that was unknown, anything that was in the dark to us that we hadn't experienced was potentially death.
Yeah.
Too risky.
Right.
So I think that when we get into those uncharted waters of joy and bliss, then it's the unknown and we get to certain levels of success and happiness. We're like, wait a minute, that's uncomfortable almost. So I need to back up and go to this comfort zone.
Have you ever done that in
misery?
Has that ever happened to you in meditation? You get to like a bliss horizon, and then you're just like, oh wait, what if I die?
Oh my gosh, have you had that thought? What if I die?
What if I die?
I've had that thought several times. I'm like, I remember coming out of a meditation once that was guided by one of my teachers, and I came up to him sincerely concerned, and I said, do you think I could die?
Yo, I understand. Yo, I totally get it. Like,
and he goes, no, you're gonna be okay.
You'll be
fine. He goes, I think if you keep on this path, you're gonna really experience some real prolonged bliss in your life. And so, but would I let myself go there? That's the thing.
Will you let yourself go there?
So I think that for me, what I've noticed, what's been helpful for me to experience more joy is to acknowledge the beautiful things I already have and to be in a practice of gratitude, because it's like if I'm familiar with and acknowledging the things that are wonderful already, it prepares me to receive more.
Yeah.
And then also to visualize, and often I do this in my meditations, to visualize and own those things that my heart really deeply desires. Like if it's a super incredible, passionate relationship with my husband, or it's a flow in my career, or whatever that is, to like imagine it's already here and to feel those feelings in my body. I mean, that's manifestation or law of attraction, or what do you want to call it. Yeah. But I do that often. And then to feel those moments of discomfort, like get really sensitive to them and lean into it and let myself go there. And then, if I need to use affirmations or something, like I can remind myself, like I am receiving unexpected abundance from unexpected places and unexpected ways, and I joyfully receive, this.
I think that what's been helpful for me is when I have a hesitation about crying or letting myself feel deep sadness about whatever might be making me sad, I call out those moments of discomfort, not as enemies, but as I know you're trying to protect me. And I recognize the fear as love, like just turned on its side. Yeah. And so I don't make the discomfort an enemy. It's like come along, just be happy with me. I recognize you. We can be happy together. I recognize you. You're safe. We can be sad together. Knowing that my hesitations are not limitations, knowing that my hesitations are not my enemy, that just like we're talking about, they're just evolutionary constructs that are there to, make sure that this is okay. But we have the agency to be like, it's okay. I can cry. It's okay. I can dream big. It's okay. I can feel joy.
Yeah.
But it's a practice. Every time you give yourself permission, the potential for a deeper experience grows.
This has been an awesome conversation.
Yeah.
I love this topic.
Me
And
too.
hey, if you are not watching us yet, this is definitely the show you want to watch. So please check us out on YouTube. We are on the channel called Balance, and we have a link to today's episode in the show notes. And if you're watching on Spotify, or rather listening on Spotify, you can also see this video playing when the episode pops up.
I finally saw us on Spotify. It was so cool.
Yeah. I know. I love that feature.
So if you're enjoying our show, please tell your friends and family. You can, tell your pets. But yeah, tell your friends and family. Word of mouth is huge for us. It's really how people discover new podcasts, etc. So if you like what we're doing here, please let your people know.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be back next week, and we'll still be here in beautiful San Jose del Cabo. So we look forward to being with you then.
Don't forget to be kind to yourself. Thanks so much for hanging out.
Yep, and give yourself permission to feel.
Yeah, feel it all. Yeah.
Ciao.
Peace.